Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Double A Entertainment. This is going to be a semi half assed video, but it's going to be, at least to me, incredibly important. And I'm going to talk about Steven Spielberg's film Schindler's List. Now, today is Holocaust Remembrance Day in America, and as you all know, Steven Spielberg is one of my absolute favorite film directors of all time. Recently, I really developed a strong addiction to his films again, especially having watched Artificial Intelligence after way too many years of having it recommended to me. And I really wasn't going to do a video just because it's Holocaust Remembrance Day, but I happened to rewatch Schindler's List, and it is a bit of a there are it's a bit of a controversial film, not just amongst Holocaust deniers or anti-Semites, but there's actually a viewpoint I'd like to counter, which is actually a controversial opinion amongst the Jewish community. And I actually have one friend who outright, boycotted the film. And as I mentioned in my previous video about inappropriate censorship and how I was given the opportunity to watch Steven Spielberg's Schindler's List inside of a private movie theater, the Kirk Douglas Theater, in the heart of Jerusalem in Israel. And I was talking to my friend about it, and him and I have heard many other Jews do their argument against the film Schindler's List is that Oskar Schindler was indeed a Nazi, therefore he should not be seen as a hero. And the fact that someone made an entire film about Oskar Schindler, making him a hero, is complete bullshit. And I would immediately like to, again, counter that. Was he a Nazi? Yes. And obviously, being Jewish, having family members who survived and were murdered in the concentration camps, I am not the biggest fan of Nazis. However, number one, Oskar Schindler, he was really big into the economy. He wanted to make big money. So obviously, and not having, the not being fully educated on the extremities that the Nazis were, not being fully knowledgeable on the extreme tactics the Nazis were using against the Jews until he was way in too fucking deep. He just wanted to make a quick buck, which is why he joined the Nazi Party. Oskar Schindler was, and having read the book Schindler's List, Oskar Schindler was not. He wasn't the smartest guy necessarily. He had one goal only, and that was to get laid and make a whole lot of money. He was pretty much the Jordan Belfort of his day. And that is made very clear in the film. And I'm not sure whether those people have actually seen the film or if they just, or we watched two completely different films. One thing that really shocked me about Schindler's List, having seen it for the first time, when I watched it for the first time, was he was, my mom and several people who have seen the film talked about Oskar Schindler as if he was a real messiah. And I mean, he was. He rescued 1,200 Jews, and 1,200 Jews, and multiply that by God knows how many, offspring they had. We have a lot more, human beings that are alive today because of him. And personally, I'd much rather have, a minimum of 1,200 Jews alive, 1,200 human beings alive, than 1,200 more dead human beings. Again, that's just my personal opinion. But right off the bat, we see Oskar Schindler. Steven Spielberg shows us right off the bat. He just loves the high life. He just wants to make money. He just wants to rub shoulders with the elite, and he loves women. He doesn't hide that at all. As a matter of fact, there's a scene in the film where this woman, a Jewish woman, goes to his factory and begs him to hire her mother and father as workers in his factory, and she says, "They say you want businessmen. They say you are, they say this place is a haven They say you are a good man. And he gets really, really, really angry about that and even threatens to have her arrested. So, yeah, Steven Spielberg does not shy away from Oscar Schindler being a bit of a, being kind of a jerk at first. Also, and it pains me to say this, but I'd also have to counter an argument against Stanley Kubrick, where Stanley Kubrick and Terry Gilliam, the director behind 12 Monkeys, who quoted Stanley Kubrick said he wasn't his problem with the movie Schindler's List, because I do believe Stanley Kubrick did admire the film Schindler's List, or maybe he didn't, but his biggest beef was the film is about the Jews that survived, while really the Holocaust slaughtered over 6 million Jews and over, you know, millions and millions of overall human beings. And yeah, I can see where that'd be a problem, but again, the film is incredibly bleak. It is incredibly violent, and we see. I remember getting physically ill the first time I watched it because we see mounds and mounds of bodies being cremated. We see, we see human beings being shot left and right in the most grotesque and inhumane ways possible. It's a very, very, very fucking brutal film. It is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre of historical films. Steven Spielberg does not shy away at all from the grotesque realism of the Holocaust. And that combined with the cinematography and the black and white style of filmmaking, it looks very, very real and similar to actual documentary footage of the concentration camps. And I apologize if I sound like a broken record, but I just have to say one thing that I absolutely admire about Schindler's List from an artistic point of view. Um, and I mean this in a good way. Have you ever seen one of those movies from one of your favorite directors and you're like, oh my god, this is absolutely nothing like anything else he directed? In a good way. In a good way. I'm not talking about like, Jack. It's with Robin Williams. It's also directed by Francis Ford Coppola. The less said about that, the better. Then again, it got Steven Spielberg's hook, but and many of his other films. But as even as an adult, I love how bleak, just straight up bleak, straight faced, and real and gritty the entire film is from start to finish. From the typewriter, I love the introduction we have to Oscar Schindler, where uh, you have the typewriter, and then you see he's in his bedroom, he's laying out his ties and his suits, he's pouring himself some liquor, and I absolutely love that whole sequence. Because having again, by the time I saw a good majority of Steven Spielberg's films. I was an addict to Steven Spielberg for many, many years, and given his films, even films like E.T. and Jaws, which more or less are strongly based in reality, we get a bit more of a whimsical feel to it. Even films like The Color Purple, there is a bit of whimsy and optimism in that film. But in Schindler's List, there's absolutely none of that Spielberg esque quality to it. It is incredibly bleak, droll, and serious. And I fucking love that. I ain't gonna lie, I do have a soft spot for Spielbergisms, but at the same time, seeing this change of pace, it's amazing. It's mind boggling in the best way possible. So, there are my thoughts on Schindler's List, and let me know in the comment section down below what your thoughts on the film are. Thank you very much for watching this.